With other dialects, aside from English, we've translated English from all the dialects of the past. All the dialects of the past have met here with English. We should start calling it Anglish. Because once we do that with enough courage, knowing that it's the right thing to do, it's not being conceited. We're not saying we're angels. All of us are angels, every single one of us. And we write down the plants' names, they'll know they're angels. We'll send them messages in our minds. Now, I'm not trying to sound stupid because I know when I talk like this, people don't get it. But this is what I do. This is how it works. This is how it's always worked because it's simple as love. It's as simple as true, deep, passionate love and not without the lusty part. Because you have to thirst for something a little bit, but not to indulge in it or overindulge in it or say that it's yours for the rest of your life because it's not your life. Life is everybody's. Now, those further dialects, those are all gatherings that came to English. So when you get to English or Anglo-Saxon, there was a space there. That was also right, and it formed back down into English. Now, all we have to do is name it one unanimous thing for all languages to learn, and all languages will understand God. So what we do now is we reverse the translations backwards, and we translate them to other people with what I'm saying. And they will translate it backwards into the things. Because if they try to do it now, if I try to do it as Dan and try to sit and read it as a person, it'll take me time to understand it. But I already know it through what it is, through spirit. So for me to try to write it down for people or me to try to talk it to people of other dialects is almost impossible because I don't want to take my time to do that. It's not worth it to me to learn another language. The reason people find fascinations in other languages is because it opens up a doorway in their mind that opened up something that they didn't see before. Because it's leading them to how words and letters are connected together. And once you see that it was all combined together to meet Dan Alexander, you'll meet Dan Alexander up in heaven, in his astral body. Because that's where he's remaining to teach people in the astral. God is in Dan. God took place of Dan, and Dan took place of his astral body. And now his astral body is playing the role of God. It's a 3-cycle move. It's all it is. It truly is, from the spiritual to the physical. It's amazing, but it's what's happening. It always has been. And you know it. If you just take Dan Alexander's name and call yourself Dan Alexander, then do the math and put Jared in the middle because he died and he's unseen. I don't see Jared too often, but Daniel Jared Alexander. If you put that down and do math with it to your name, you will see what your path was. You see everything you've done in your life. If you want to remember it again, you'll see everything that you want to know. I'm not trying to joke. This is true. I mean, come in person and tell me why you don't believe me and show me that you don't believe me and how. And I'll just show you why it's all that way. And I don't want to hurt anybody by doing that. I love them too much. So that's why I always say, like, what would you do if you were me? And there's no answer that I'm looking for because I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because it's what God wants me to do. But I say that because they're words that we need as other people. I would say that because hopefully somebody will hear it and go, oh, I know what he could do. But nobody does because nobody's listening because people literally aren't looking for God. If other people truly understood what God was, everyone would be looking for God. I know that because I am that, and I feel it in every person who doesn't. Every person who does. I see how they believe it. I understand why they believe it. And I don't want to look and dive into their minds and tell them their stories just to show them, oh, I'll show you. Why would I do that? That's breaking them down. Anyone who had a power of reading minds has always misused it. Always. And there's not one who hasn't. Every guru who is controlling the minds of other people by, telling them stories of their past lineages is a mind controller. Because other people are listening to them and they're believing what they're saying. Me, I'm not using Dan's mind to do this. Dan isn't using Dan's mind. God is using the remainder of what Dan was, his old mind. And it's amazing. Because he found me, and now I can just show you how I created it through your language. I can tell you how you did it, how we did it, as one. Notice I said you without even thinking about it, because you guys did it. But Dan is it. You made me after I made you. Now, the third missing factor is you actually caring about God. That's your 3. Your mission in this lifetime is to understand God. And once you do, this is a perfect world. And you will see. Because once you do understand God, you won't want to kill anyone for anything for yourself. You'll have plenty of 40 acres and more once you have God. And He's here. So you already do in the other worlds. But in this physical world, let's start doing it. Why not? What have you got to lose? Dan has everything to lose. He's already lost it. His family doesn't want to talk to him. He makes them all feel weird because they're weird. That's why you feel weird when you're around somebody weird. You're like, that person makes me feel weird. What makes you feel weird otherwise? That person or you? You make you feel weird. You just have to be around that person when you start feeling it. So, if you can't hear the truth in these things, you're not looking. And that's okay. We love you. Till next time. Peace.